To everyone joining us from all over the world, my name is Payan Pakmanish from Verticurl. I'm a Senior Client Success Director, and I'm joined today by Lauren Schuler, who's the Vice President of Client Services for the U.S. West region. How's it going, Lauren?
It's going well, Payan. How are you doing?
Hanging in there. Everybody good?
Good, doing well over here. Really
I like
excited
the bright orange red thing you got going on there. It's nice and happy.
Knowing your audience is something that every organization is continually striving to achieve because it does change over time depending on the environment, depending on the business model, depending on what new available technologies are in the market to be able to communicate. So personalization of content, timing of the messaging is an ongoing process. And as digital education and sales conversations become more necessary, over time, it's critical for companies to be able to ensure that they have the right content to support these conversations. So when we look at taking a customer-centric content approach, an approach to help ultimately drive a sales conversation, that content doesn't necessarily need to address awareness or address specific products necessarily. What that kind of content has to do to drive a sales process is solve a problem. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I hate to sort of answer the question this way because it's true. It depends on your buyer, and it depends on how long that sales process might be. And obviously that's dependent upon, the deal size or sort of the consideration point and how many people are involved. But knowing that, which a lot of companies have a very clear understanding of the length of a formal sales process, that's what's going to sort of drive the appetite for content consumption online or in a digital format. I look at the sales process in terms of engagement and content strategy to align with it in the sense of a formal sales process, which if you think about it in B2B terms is mid or bottom funnel, where you have insights and information from the sales team as to how that works. But there's also the informal process. And that is the piece that tends to be a bit more ambiguous to organizations. It's everything that happens prior to somebody raising his or her hand in order to have that sales conversation, that formal sales discussion. That's where the technology comes into play for us to be able to understand where content is being consumed, what types of content are being consumed in order to drive that sales process. And ultimately being able to map from a content strategy perspective, how much of the content you're creating needs to be done in digital or done and delivered in a digital format versus how much needs to be done to enable your sales organization to have those targeted and relevant conversations. Most companies have a massive repository of content that they've been creating and investing in over the years. So you do usually have a pretty robust foundation in terms of the types of content that you have. But in the way to organize it for this informal / digital sales conversation versus a human-centric sales conversation is to first understand and organize your content based on how it aligns to the various buying stages. Creating something as simple as a matrix with those buying stage content pieces are going to be effective and relevant for those particular buying stages. Once you have that, then you're able to overlay that matrix with the different types of personas that your organization has identified. So what's going to be relevant at each buying stage to, a CIO or an IT persona versus a finance persona or versus a marketing persona. Having that view and being able to look at it from buying stages and then those buying stages sort of drilled down into persona is what's going to give you a structure for what you have. And then also what's going to give you guidance into perhaps where you have gaps. Gaps in content that are going to fill a need because that's what your personas need in order to continue to walk from one step of the buying process to another.
That's great stuff, Lauren. Well, listen, I know you're a busy person. I want to thank you so much for your time and your
Yeah.
wisdom.
Well, thank you, Payam, so much for having this conversation with me. I hope that everybody, if they have any questions, this is something that your organization is struggling with and would like some guidance or just, sort of phone a friend. We at Verticurl are always happy to have those conversations. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thanks again, Lauren.
Thanks, Payam.